So I'll start properly. So brilliant. So yeah, so just introducing a webinar we've developed specifically for the hospitality industry, looking at people who run, whether you've got a catering company, whether you've got a restaurant, whether you've got a cafe or a pub that does food, any of those kind of professions, this webinar is for you. So I'm going to show you some tips and some thoughts about the industry that I think will make a big difference to where you go in the future. And the reason for the webinar is to introduce people to a little bit about business coaching, understand the power of being coached and supported in your business, so you can develop powerful strategies to take your business to the next level. So if you feel that this webinar is useful and it's worth having a brief conversation with me afterwards, then of course we can just have a 15-minute, 30-minute chat, whichever you prefer, just to see if I can help you implement some of this in your own business. My colleague, Raj, is unfortunately, he's had a bereavement, so he won't be able to join us for the webinar, so I'll cover some of his content, but I'll introduce My Menu UK as well, which is a fantastic electronic tool, effectively, an app on your phone that you can use for menus. So when people come into your establishments, you can give them a code, a URL code, and they click on that code, and all the menu and all the details for their purchasing, everything they do can come up on their phone. It's COVID proof as well, because it means you don't have to touch anything. It comes up on the screen, and they can pick a range of menus from starters to main courses to desserts. They can order and pay on their phone. It's just phenomenal. You can have videos, you can have pictures, and it's so powerful. And I'll show you how that integrates in what I'm saying as well. So what I'll do is I'll just share my screen so I can show you some slides that I've developed. And these slides will just give you a very good introduction and overview. I'll just change my settings because my settings, I've got a bigger screen. So I'm just going to change my settings to duplicate so you can see it properly. There you go. So you should be able to see that. So, yeah, I'll just take you through a presentation. We'll have some questions at the end, and I'm sure you'll find it useful. Make sure you have your pens ready and take your notes. So let me just take you through some of this. As I said, it's a restaurant bounce. I call it the restaurant bounce back, but it incorporates anybody who's in this industry. You'll see how it's relevant. So just a little bit about myself. I'm an action coach. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've been working with a range of businesses, hundreds of businesses, mainly in London, but not just in London. My furthest clients are in Ghana and Trinidad. So you can coach people anywhere. These days, everything's on Zoom and different things. So you can coach people from anywhere these days. So businesses from startups all the way to multi-million-pound companies. I've coached people through the million-pound barriers. So I've coached a number of clients through the million-pound barrier plus and to the multi-millions. I've helped people run businesses so they can work without them, so they don't need to work in their businesses anymore. And they go away and set up another business. So I've got one client who has retail. His business does a couple of million to 2 million to 3 million a year without him having to do much. So he's off opening a revolutionary butcher's in East London. So he's opening that. I need to call him today, see how he's getting on with that one. Did the business plan for it. So I do a range of things like that. So it's just to tell you a little bit about what I do. So let me on to this webinar and take you forward. Let me show you a few things. So this is the reason why we did it, to address the impact of lockdown, because of course we've had the most crazy year that nobody could have predicted could have happened. I mean, it's just, there's recessions, there's, you know, they have the economic crash, they have house prices crashes, we have the yo-yo, we've had all sorts of things can happen in the world, wars, all sorts of things, but we've never had something where the government has had to tell a whole industry to shut its doors. I mean, that is something that nobody could have predicted that. You know, whatever economic shock, people still had the chance to open their doors and trade. You might be in a difficult time, but you could trade. It was up to you how you ran your business. But this is the first time, well, in my living memory, I suppose in most people's living memory, where the government actually told you that legally you have to stop trading. You have to close your doors. And that is a dramatic difference. And whether you're in catering or whatever else, you've had weddings cancelled, all the major events cancelled, people couldn't hold events. We haven't had any major events, or most of the major events have all been closed down. So all the catering work has gone. So even if you could even still make the food, because you could do it from home, you could do it from a private kitchen or what they call dark kitchens nowadays. But the government said they can't have the wedding. The government said you can't have the event. So if you don't have the event, obviously they don't want the food. So that's wipe out as well. So there's been really a massive pressure. And even though people can still open now, you're still with limited numbers. So that it makes it not so quite economically. So my challenge to the industry is not to bounce back, but to bounce back better, to be a bigger and better business this side of lockdown than previously. You don't have to go back to what you were doing. You can go back to a different level altogether. So I'm saying this has been a fantastic opportunity. Once there's a negative side to lockdown, of course, but the positive side is giving you time to think about how the business could be and what you could do differently. Don't go back to doing the habits you did before. Do the things that work for you, but the things that weren't working for you so well, you need to drop them. So I'm going to challenge you on some of these issues, and I hope you can understand and reflect on these. So here's some more. I want to help you bounce back, as I said, better than you were before. I want to share you some great marketing and sales strategies that I almost guarantee most of you are not using. And some of the basics you need to return to. What you did to build a business initially, you need to go back to some of those basics and build on them. I want to show you your business can be leveraged. Yeah, you can leverage these businesses massively and grow into different directions. So there's some opportunities there as well. I want to share with you how technology can give you a competitive advantage. Where so many people say they have an EPOS system, electronic point of sales, in their restaurants or cafes and whatever, hardly anybody I've met is using it. They're not using it for data. They're using it to collect the data, but they're not doing anything with the data. Most people have a till or some way of collecting information, your receipts and etc. But most people are not utilizing it. You're not doing anything with it. The analysis of it, who's buying what, what's the best sales, what's the food that sells the best, what's the drinks that sell the best, where's the best margins, what's the most profitable lines, what's the best mix of products and services. Most people are not doing the analysis. So therefore, you're just kind of putting your finger in the air and hoping that the price is about right and you're going to make X amount of profit, but not really thinking about building a business, a sustainable business that will earn you the money you want to earn. Do you want to earn 100,000 a year, or are you happy to earn 20,000 a year? I'm talking about profits now. I'm not talking about turnover, because turnover, we all know, is just a vanity. Yeah, profit is sanity. Okay. So I will share with you some of the things I've done to turn my business around. So I've got a six-figure business. Yeah. So this is some of the things we can do. I want to give you some options and some next steps. Okay. So this one I'm going to fire on you. So quick. I was going to do a quick poll. I won't worry about the poll so much because it was just to establish who was a restaurant owner, cafe owner. So I know who's on, the pub owner, caterer, etc. So I'm going to move on. This is a reality check. This is the MCA's UK Restaurant Market Report 2019. And this was before lockdown. So this is why I've done this, because I'm not going to talk about what the restaurant industry was like last year, because it's irrelevant, isn't it? Can't compare that with anything. So I'm using data that was before lockdown to demonstrate that this was a sector in trouble before lockdown. So this is a sector that a lot of people struggled in, a lot of restaurants. How many restaurants closed in 2019 before lockdown? Absolutely hundreds and thousands. Jamie Oliver's, how many restaurants did Jamie Oliver close in 2019 before lockdown? How many Ramsay closed restaurants before lockdown? And one of the challenges I have for you in the industry, like any industry, is don't make the mistake of believing that creating great food is the answer to a great business. This is a fallacy. And you need to, and I'll challenge you on this. And I'm sure you're all thinking, what is going on about? Well, I'm going to challenge you on this, because I would challenge anybody on here. Is your food better than Gordon Ramsay? All right, you might say it is. But Gordon Ramsay is a proven world-class chef. Okay. Now, you might be better than him. You might think you're better than him, but are you a proven gourmet chef? Most people aren't. The point I'm making here, the reason why I'm saying it is not to try and embarrass anybody or to make an unfair comparison, it's to demonstrate that with the quality of food that this guy can create, and however famous he is, and however much he's a millionaire, he still closed his restaurant, which should demonstrate to you, it's not how good you cook, it's how good you are as a business person. So having great food does not mean having a great business. And that's the fundamental difference, that if there's nothing else you learn from today, you learn that being a better business person is what's going to earn your family more money than being better at cooking food. Because if you're great at cooking food and nobody knows, it's meaningless. Because you can be the best chef in Britain, best chefs in East London, but if I don't know that, and you can't prove that to me, or you can't get me to come to spy from you, it doesn't mean anything. And if it's only you and your mum that knows, it's meaningless. Because unless you can get enough money from your mum, it's not going to earn any money. And also, you can serve crap food and be rich. Now, you might not want to sell crap food, but you've got to understand the biggest and baddest restaurant chain in the world is McDonald's. Sells rubbish. McDonald's and hamburgers. McDonald's burgers and fries, right? Sells trash. Even if you love burgers and fries, and we all love a burger and fry once in a while, but the point is, we all would agree it's not gourmet, it's not top notch, but it's the #1 restaurant chain in the world, bar none. And it has the biggest revenues of all restaurants in the world, bar none. So the point I'm making is, if you want to be successful in the restaurant industry, you want to be learning from people like McDonald's. And you're not copying McDonald's food, you can copy McDonald's business strategies, the way they manage their staff, the way they serve their food, the way they do their marketing. And I guarantee you, McDonald's does more marketing than you can ever dream of. But McDonald's is far more known than your business. But look at the amount of money they spend on marketing and compared to what money you spend on marketing, right? So marketing and what you do around your marketing is has a direct relationship to the new customers you get in. So McDonald's is a famous brand and spends millions promoting themselves. Guess what? You're not a famous brand, not that well known. And what do you spend on marketing per month? You probably have a budget of less than 100 quid on marketing per month. Maybe you do some social media marketing, and guess what? Loads of people aren't on social media. You say everybody's on social media. Well, you're making a mistake, okay? Because I'm 55 years old, and I guarantee you, I have not looked online for a restaurant in, I don't know how many years, probably since I met my wife. Because when I met my wife, I went online to find a fancy restaurant for her because I wanted to impress her by taking her to some nice restaurant. And I don't think I've looked since. And the reason why? Because I'm not interested. I'm 55. I don't care. I don't look at restaurant websites. What I do is I go up the road and I see a restaurant. I think, oh, maybe I'll go there. And it's only on a special occasion I look for a particular restaurant. So guess what? You can put your restaurant on social media for every day of the week for the next 200 years. But guess what? There's many other 55-year-olds like me who are willing to spend money in your restaurant or in your business, and I ain't going on your website. I'm not searching for you on Instagram because I don't go on Instagram. I'm not searching for you on Facebook, right? So therefore, you need to think of other ways of reaching people like me. And guess what? People like me are more typically to spend more in your restaurant than the 19-year-old who's just liked your page, or the 17-year-old in China who's just liked your page. Guess what? The 17-year-old in China who's just liked your page is never going to buy from you because they live in China. So this is the thing with social media. So some of these myths we have to deal with. It's great when you have people following you who are local, who like you, and will go to your restaurant or buy from you as a caterer. But if they live in China, or they live in Newcastle, they live in Wales, they even live in the wrong part of London, they're not coming to your restaurant unless you can prove you've got something special to offer, right? Why would I go to a restaurant in South London when I live in Chingford? I'm not going to South London, it's too far, right? I'm not going to drive 2 hours or risk going in traffic for an hour, 2 hours to go to a restaurant for an hour or a couple of hours. It's not going to happen. It's only going to happen if it's a special occasion and you've convinced me that that restaurant is so nice that I'm going to travel all the way there for some special occasion. But if I'm just going to pop out this Saturday and take my wife out for a meal, why would I go all the way to South London? It's not going to happen. So what you've got to think about is focus on your local locality first, especially those of you, most of the people I know are in London. You've got thousands of people on your doorstep. And guess what? You're promoting your business in China, in Afghanistan, and God knows where around the world, as well as in the UK, obviously. But I'm doing this to exaggerate the point, to make you realize that social media is not the be all and end all of everything in life. Social media is fantastic, but I'm telling you, in the hospitality business, it's overrated and overused. And your customer that came last week or even over the weekend, you don't know their name and you don't know where they came from. Most restaurant owners have no idea who your customers are. So guess what? You can't go back to them. Now, so what you're doing is you're constantly looking for a new person to come to a restaurant when the person who just came this weekend, you haven't got their details. You don't know their birthday, you don't know their anniversary, and you haven't recorded why they came for this meal. So, and you have no way of contacting them again. So that means that you're building a business that's got a straw foundation. If you knew everybody who used you in the past and you regularly kept in contact with all your previous customers, I guarantee you they would use your shop more often or use your catering services or whatever more often. The amount of us who have gone and had a meal or bought a service from somebody who's just reminded us that they exist, just asked us to come back. When you get a voucher through your door to say, come to this restaurant, 10% off, what do you do with it? Most people do not throw it in the bin. You're not going to throw it in the bin if you've been there before. Because if you've been there before and it's local and they're offering you 10% off, what are you thinking? I might as well keep the voucher because I'll probably pop back there at some point. You see my point? Simple old style marketing is still very effective. So let me just go over this industry question for 2019. Now, I hope I've whet your appetite and got you a bit aroused, got you feeling a bit emotional about it. And it's okay to challenge me on these things, but I'm just giving you a context for what I'm doing. So here's the first one, large falls in sales value. There's been a huge sales in sales value for most restaurants because the proliferation of restaurants by 2019 in the UK, especially London, it's been overwhelming. Cafes, everybody's doing catering, everybody's got a cafe, everybody's got a restaurant. You know, everywhere you look, there's somebody who's opened a new food outlet or doing catering from their garden, from their back garden, or from their kitchen, or from a dark kitchen or whatever. This is because it's good money in it, right? When people see an opportunity, they copy. So that's why the situation was so strong. And therefore it was an abundance, which meant that the customers had the power and the choice. Therefore, there was too many restaurants dying. The reverse is now true. There's a lot of restaurants that have closed and will close. Therefore, there's an opportunity for you. Caterers who have stopped catering, people who have left the marketplace because it's just killed them. They've decided, I've got to go and do something else. So there's an opportunity for you there. Also, loads of customers have got out the habit of going to the restaurants they used to go to. So therefore, there's an opportunity to take that customer marketplace. People who booked a wedding in 2020 and cancelled and cancelled and cancelled. Some of these people will look for a new caterer because some of these caterers are no longer providing the services. They've lost their staff, they've lost their chef, they've lost loads of things. So there's another opportunity, okay? People will still get married, people will still have events, but some of the providers of those services are no longer around. So they're going to look for somebody else. And also people look for somebody else just because they've been rattled. Because people are thinking, well, why have I always used that person? Because now you've stopped using them automatically and you've not used them for a year. It gives you a chance to review your prices, value for money, your menu, etc. So you think, you know what, maybe I should look at somebody else. That's what happens, right? It's like not having a car. If you didn't have a car for 3 years, sorry, for a year and a half, when you go back and look at a car, would you just get the car you always had? You're now a bit more open to maybe a different car. And that's what happens when people lose patterns. Next one, attributes to a perfect storm. What's the perfect storm? Rising costs. So your foods cost more. There's an oversupply in the market, too many people in the marketplace, and weakening consumer demand because people will buy more and more food from the supermarket, eating at home. Just like, pubs have been closing because people can buy their food, have a big screen TV, watch wonderful football and sport at home, and you just have your friends around, have a meal around your house. So the pub's being challenged. Before, you couldn't see a big film unless you went to a cinema. You couldn't see a big screen unless you went to some private venue. Now people got 55-inch screen in their house with surround sound, whatever. So now you can enjoy the best sport and the best films and the best occasions with wonderful experience in your own home. You can buy your own popcorn and have your own fun. Before, you had to be wealthy to have these things in your house. Now people have them. So all these are challenges to what people used to do. Yeah, if you wanted to eat Indian food, you had to go to a restaurant somewhere up the road. Now you can buy it in the supermarket. You see, so these are the challenges that make it a competitive market. But people still love to buy in professionals to do this. That's not going to go away. And as you get older, you appreciate it probably even more. And young people are spending more on food than ever. My sons spend a fortune on food because they're constantly buying takeaway and delivery and all that. They live in that generation. Me, you're never going to get me. I never order food to be delivered to my house. Not going to happen because I'm old school, right? I don't want to buy the food and get it delivered to my house. I either go and get it myself or I go and sit in a restaurant. I'm not getting it delivered to my house because I'm just old school. It's just the way I am. You know, even if I order, I still go and get it myself because I'm just old school. And you got to remember, there's lots of people like me out there who are willing to spend money. So you got to find a way of reaching me. You can't keep telling me, oh, well, I'm on social media. I don't care because I'm the customer, right? You know, you ain't reaching me that way. So think about how valuable you have customers out there that you're not reaching because you're not speaking to them in the way that they want to be spoken to, right? So let's have a look at this. It's not an option to go to how things work. Most restaurants, pubs, clubs, bars, cafes, poor sales between Monday and Thursday. You know, if you've got a cafe, you might still do the morning. So you're right in the morning. So cafes, people go every morning, right? They get you coffee and get all that. But you remember, all these patterns have been broken. People who used to go to work every day and get a coffee on their way to work, get a sandwich on their way to work, or get a sandwich at lunchtime, those patterns are being smashed because millions of people are no longer going to work every day. Millions of people are no longer jumping on the train. So they're not going in your cafe in the morning. The trades, yes, but a lot of the so-called white-collar people, that habit's broken. Where they used to go for lunch, every single day they used to buy a sandwich in your place for lunchtime. Broken, gone. They may never come back. So you got to think different, right? Got to think different. How can you change that marketplace? You might have to deliver to them, right? So poor sales Monday to Thursday. Why have you got poor sales? Oh, let's go back. Let's go back one. Now, so many restaurant owners have said to me over the years, and many people in the catering game, etc., have said to me, Asari, people don't really go out on Monday to Thursday. That's nonsense. What it is, if you convince yourself that they don't do Monday to Thursday, but other places are full Monday to Thursday, your restaurant ain't full on a Monday to Thursday, or your cafe ain't full. You see what I mean? You're not busy on those days, but you got to think different. Are you telling me people don't dine out Monday to Thursday? Of course they do, but they're not maybe dining out with you, but they do dine out. And I'll give you a classic example. When the government did Eat Out to Help Out, how full were the restaurants? Absolutely brim full from Monday to Wednesday, the 3 days when people claimed it was dead. Restaurants were absolutely booming because you dropped the prices and the government did the half price deal. But what about if you did a deal? And you know how many restaurants straight after the deal did nothing? And guess what happened? Your restaurants were empty. But why would you not notice all those people who came into your restaurant between Monday and Wednesday? Why would you not invite them to come back between Monday and Wednesday or Monday to Thursday in your restaurant? But you see my point. Most people didn't get their details. Even in COVID, you've got an excuse to get their details because you can say it's for COVID reasons. But seriously, you could get the details of all the people who come to your restaurant between that Monday and Wednesday when they did the Eat Out to Help Out. And if you've got all their details, straight afterwards, you could have promoted something else to them. Maybe you couldn't give them half price, but you could give them some kind of deal, right? Because it showed how full it was, showed how much people wanted to come and would come out between Monday and Wednesday. Okay, so think about that. That can be changed. Or dessert and soft drink offers. Now, I don't drink alcohol. And guess what? When I go to most places, they give me crap service around soft drinks. Half the time, the soft drink's not cold. That pees me off straight away. Soft drink's not cold. No ice. Yeah, so you're giving me a so-called cold drink. It's not cold. You'd never serve beer warm. So you'd never sell coffee cold. So why would you sell me a soft drink that's not cold? And why don't you have great offers? Why don't you have milkshakes? Why don't you have great soft drinks that I can choose from? Why do you only get to be lazy and just have Coke and lemonade or a bit of orange juice? Pineapple juice. Why don't you sell pineapple juice? Why don't you sell other products? They're cheap to buy, cost you virtually nothing. Long life, shelf life. And you can make great profit on them, but it's just you're not thinking differently about the soft drink offer. Look how many people don't drink and drive anymore, but you're not offering a great range of soft drinks. Why? It's very profitable. There's very low tax on soft drinks. So the profit margins are even higher on some of the soft drinks than they are on the alcohol. So think about that one, okay? Think about offering that. Now, how many places have I been out to eat and you don't offer a dessert? Yes, yes, yes. You might say you offer some dessert, but you offer desserts that nobody buys. Yeah. If you offer dessert that most of your 99% of your customers don't buy dessert, change the dessert. Yeah. Don't keep selling the dessert that people aren't buying. Yeah. There's no point in having it. Yes, authentic Greek restaurant, authentic Indian restaurant, authentic Chinese restaurant, authentic this restaurant and that restaurant. Yes, 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 yes. That's all well and good. But don't you want to make money? Yeah. Customers do not care what type of food you have. If they love the dessert, they love the dessert. They don't care that it's not part of that cuisine. If people go into a Chinese restaurant and you offer them chocolate fudge cake for dessert, they'll buy it. Apple pie, they'll buy it. Ice cream, they'll buy it. They don't care that it's not Chinese. They don't care, right? When people have a coffee after a meal, is that coffee is not the classic food of every country in the world, but people still buy coffee. People buy beer and all sorts of drinks from you, alcoholic drinks. That's not the tradition of your country, of whatever restaurant you're running, but people still buy it because it's what they like. So don't be fooled into believing people won't buy desserts. People will buy desserts. How much profit is in desserts? Huge profit in desserts. And guess what happens when somebody buys a dessert? Their friend buys a dessert and their friend buys a coffee or something because nobody wants to sit and watch somebody eating a dessert and nobody else is doing anything. So as a result of buying a dessert, everybody stays longer and everybody else buys a drink or everybody else buys a dessert because that's just the way it works. The longer they stay in your restaurant, the more they buy. As long as your service is good and you're making sure you're replenishing those drinks, you do not let people sit in your restaurant with nothing in front of them. You must offer them something. All right. And also don't take the menu away. This is one of the biggest mistakes, faux pas in restaurants. Every restaurant in the world teaches you to take the menu away. But when you take the menu away, you stop reminding me about the desserts. You stop reminding me about the extra products I can buy. This is why when I teach you about my menu and the having it on your mobile phone, the power of that, the power of having desserts in your eye view when you're eating your dinner. What does that make you feel when you're eating your dinner and you see a beautiful dessert next to you? Pictures, or you see them displayed near you. Yeah. You think about what you want to have for dessert before you've even finished a meal. Okay. So please, please, please have a good dessert menu and good soft drinks. Doesn't matter what you're selling, whether you're a caterer, a cafe, or whatever. Because when people come in your store, always ask them additional questions. Don't let somebody come in your restaurant or come into your cafe and say, can I have a coffee? And you say yes. Wrong answer. Your answer should be, of course you can have a coffee. Would you like anything to eat with that? And then when they answer that question, they look around and see what they can eat. And then you ask them another question. Is there anything else I can help you with? I guarantee you, if you add those two questions, you will get more sales. I guarantee it. There's no way if you tell me you asked 100 people that question, not one person will buy something to eat. And then if you say there's anything else I can help you with, they will look again to see if there's anything else they can buy. I guarantee it. And whether you're selling catering or whatever, it's the same thing. What you offer me is a large part of what I'll buy. If you make it difficult for me to get a three-course meal, or make it so expensive to get a three-course meal, I won't order a three-course meal, I'll order a two-course meal. If you give me a package that makes it worth my while to do a two-course or a three-course, people will go for the bundles. Why do you think people walk into McDonald's and say, I only want a burger, or I only want a burger and fries, and they end up buying a meal? Because it makes sense, because they offer you the drink for such a low price on top. You might as well buy the bundle and get the whole package. And then they offer you go large, so you might as well go large. And that's what they do. They make it easy for you to buy the bundle. They don't want you to just buy a burger, or they don't want you to just buy a burger and fries. They want you to buy the drink as well, because the profit on the drink is huge. So they might as well just add the drink on, even 20p. But 20p times a million people is a 20 million times 20p. Lots of profit, right? So let's keep going. Little to no data on customers. Now, big problem. Now, if you do catering, you will have the details of all your customers, because you must have their name, you must have their address, you must have met them somewhere, so you must have some information on that person, right? Phone number, etc. Because you can't do catering without that relationship. So you've got the data. How many times have you gone back to them? If somebody has a 50th birthday, that means they have a 60th birthday. That means they have the 51st birthday. If they have a 21st, they have a 22nd. So any birthday celebrations, you can go back. Any wedding celebrations, you can go back to the anniversary. Any birthdays or christenings, they can have their first birthday party, second birthday party. So any catering you do for an occasion, you should have data on that customer of the anniversary of it. So there's an opportunity to promote yourself a month or two before the anniversary of that catering event. There's an opportunity to promote the event again, because somebody who had a great time at their birthday might want to have another birthday. It might not be as big as the 50th or the 40th, but it still might want you to come back and do something for their 41st birthday or their 51st birthday. Does that make sense? Or they know somebody else who's a similar age. Because guess what a 50-year-old knows? Loads of 50-year-olds. And guess what a 40-year-old knows? Loads of 40-year-olds. So if they're having a 40th party with you, guess what? All the people who went to their school in their year are having a 40th the same year. So always think laterally about having data on customers and who do they know that if you keep in contact with them, they may refer you. Make it easy for them to refer, right? Everybody who has a birthday, as I said, all their school friends have a birthday the same year, at the same sort of time. They're the same special birthdays at the same time, right? Keep data on customers, very, very important. Limited marketing strategies. Most people in hospitality, very limited marketing strategies. Chuck something on social media, chuck stuff on your website. Guess what? 99.9% of us, when we go on somebody's website, it says, contact me. What do? Nothing. You don't contact them. Because 9 o'clock tonight, when I'm looking at your website and it says, contact me, guess what I'm going to do? Nothing. Because I'm not going to contact you at 9 o'clock at night because it's shut, right? Or I think it's not appropriate to contact you. What you want is something for me to download to show interest so you can contact me. See, because at 9 o'clock at night, I'll press a button to download your brochure on weddings, or to download your brochure on special events, or to download your brochure on the top 5 things I need to think before I take on a caterer, or the 5 things I need to do before booking a restaurant, or whatever it is. I will download that, right? But to download it, I've got to leave my details. So guess what? Gives you an opportunity to ring me a few days later and say, Asari, thanks for downloading the information. How did you find it? And then from there, you have a conversation and find out if they're interested in your services. You see, if you don't build these things in, people look at your website and just use it for freeness. We all do it. We all use people's websites to do research and we don't buy anything. Don't let people do that with your website. Next one, crushing costs of deliveries. So, using Uber Eats and all these different platforms are killing the restaurant industry, killing the industry. Now, if you can set up a way of doing your own deliveries, you're going to make much more money. And guess what? Loads of the marketplace will come to you if you set that up. So if you don't want to do deliveries because you think it's a nightmare, it's a headache, too much complaints, the food arrives cold, there's too much hassle, especially in London, then do pick up. A lot of people, if they like your food, will come and get it, but they won't if they can't get delivery. Now, obviously, it depends where you are, because obviously, if you're in somewhere where it's really difficult to park, then it's going to be a problem, people coming in. But generally, if people just pop in quickly and dash out, they'll get a person to come with them to dash out, leave the car in the road or on the side and then go back. But just think about the options there. There are other options for doing deliveries. And a lot of restaurants until lockdown never really bothered with deliveries or pickup. They didn't really promote that part of the business because you didn't really need to, or you didn't really think about it. It wasn't what you really wanted to do, but you're missing a trick. Lots of young people want deliveries. Lots of people will come and pick up food and eat at home because they want to watch the big game or whatever at home. Okay, so think about those opportunities as well. All right. What about the mix of staff, quality of staff, and high turnover? How many of you complain about staff? Nearly everybody in this industry complains about staff. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you believe that you can get the average youngster and school leaver to come to work for you on time, every day, do the work, say what you want them to say, serve in a highly polite way, and do all that really efficiently? I bet you most of you are saying, nah, it doesn't happen, Asari. Most of these youngsters, they're just not good enough. They don't come on time. They haven't got the right attitude. They don't always wear the uniform, blah, 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 blah. But guess what? These same young people that you don't think are any good work at McDonald's and do a perfectly good job day in, day out, with a script, with a system. But the difference between your business and their business is McDonald's spends weeks and hours training them in the McDonald's way. They tell them how to do it. And if they don't do it that way, get rid of them. But guess what your way is? Most of us in this industry are not teaching them a system because guess what? You don't have a system. And if you don't have a system, you're expecting them to copy you, but people don't just copy you just like that. You've got to give them train them with a script of what to say it, how to dress. Here, this one. When I go into restaurants, I'm a business coach. I often look at the staff and I look at them and I go, oh, they have a uniform. So obviously the owner has made them wear uniform. And I usually make a second comment with, but they didn't tell them to iron it. Again, people do what you tell them. If you tell them to wear the uniform, they wear uniform. But if you don't tell them to iron it, some of them won't iron it. Tell them to iron it as well. You know, people like me hate to see a shirt that's not ironed, right? You're wearing a shirt as a part of uniform and it's just not ironed. They can't be bothered to iron it. You make them iron it. When they're in McDonald's, that's ironed. So the point is, if a 16-year-old can work in McDonald's, wear a uniform, arrive on time, follow a script, do the upselling, then any 16-year-old can do it. And the ones you're employing can do it as well. But you've got to train them and you've got to make sure they're doing it over and over and over until it becomes a habit. So when they come to your restaurant, for example, do they introduce themselves? 99% of staff in restaurants do not introduce themselves. They don't say who their name, they don't have a name badge, and their uniform is a bit dodgy. All these things is already given a bad impression to the customer. Introduce yourself, say who you are. My name's Asari. I'm going to look after you this evening. This is my table. Anything you need, just ask for me. You've already got a tip, and they already think this is the most fantastic restaurant they've ever been to in 2 or 3 seconds. Then you get them to explain the way it works. First of all, I'm going to take your drinks order, or you tell them how the menu works or whatever. First of all, I'm going to take your drinks order. I'll take some quick drinks order. Then I'll come back, give you some time to look at your mains or your starters, and I'll come back and take your order. Is that okay with you? They already think, fantastic. Then you come back and say to them, by the way, we do some deals. If you do a 2-course or 3-course, it's this price. So you encourage them to bundle. You encourage them to buy extra because you tell them there's a benefit in getting 2-course or 3-course. You could do this in catering. You can do this in any sector. You encourage people to buy what you want them to buy. If you tell them if you buy a coffee and a scone or something, they get something else free, or they get, some fruit or something like that, what will they do? People come in and they start to get into a habit. They say, every time I get a coffee, I get a scone. It becomes a habit to them to do it. You can train people to do things the way you want them to, but you've got to get your staff trained up. And that's why you have inconsistent service delivery and why customers are not happy going into restaurants. You see, you can be consistently average service. You can be consistent ordinary service, but you need to be consistent. People don't mind getting ordinary service if it's always ordinary, because they know what to expect and they'll make a decision. But people go to McDonald's now, they don't say have a nice day anymore. They don't do all the outside cleaning. They don't seem to bother with all that anymore, but you still go there. The point is, if you know what you're going to get, you know what you're going to get. If you know that it's not going to be gourmet quality and it's not going to be fantastic, you still go because you know that's what it is. But when you go once and it's fantastic and then the next time it's not, that's the inconsistency problem. That's why people want consistency. That's why you have to have a system. You can't have different service depending on what staff are in that day, because the customer sees it as inconsistency. Last time I went, I got a drink before my meal. This time, I didn't get a drink before my meal. See, these things confuse customers. They think it's inconsistent. They want the same service each time, every time. Right. Yeah, I mentioned about data already, little data on customers, so that's a problem. And I also talked about upselling, a very, very little upselling in the hospitality sector. Missing a trick, you're leaving money on the table by not upselling. The average sale in most hospitality outlets is what? 10 quid a head? Depending, 5 quid in a cafe, it's probably only 5 quid a head. In a restaurant, 20 to 30, 40 pounds a head, depending on what your value is, right? But if you increase that by just £5, think of the difference in your customer. If you get 100 people in your restaurant a week, 100, and that's not a lot, 100 in your restaurant a week, and you have an average sale value increase of £5, you make £500 a week more, £2,000 a month more. And if that fiver is a dessert or a soft drink or an extra drink, most of it is profit because all the other costs are already taken care of. Once they're in your restaurant, the extra cost of that order is peanuts. So if somebody goes and gets an ice cream for somebody in your restaurant, that ice cream has already been bought and the ice cream is sitting there in the freezer. So the profit on it is virtually pure profit in your pocket, because that cash is pure cash into your pocket extra that you didn't have before. So if they spend £5 on an ice cream, it's £5 straight away. You probably don't have to replace that ice cream for a few weeks. So every order of that ice cream is just pure profit in your pocket, pure gross margin. So think about this. Yeah. So think about those upselling. It makes a massive, a massive difference to your business. And catering's the same. You put a picture in their head of an amount per person, but if you can show the value, people will push up the value barrier if you can show the value you add with the slightly extra ordering. Okay. Now, there's a new approach, right? Seth Godin, one of the biggest well, people talk about him being one of the best marketeers in the world. That's why I put his picture. Let's look at this new approach before I finish, okay? Compelling offers between Monday and Thursday. Offer people locally to you. The most likely person to use your services is the person around the corner. Yeah, the most likely restaurant, cafe, etc. I'm going to go to, pub, whatever it is the one nearest to my house. It's the most likely one I'm going to go to. Why would I go to one that the best pub in England, the best restaurant or cafe in England, if it takes me an hour to get there, 2 hours to get there? Why would I go there? The best, they could be the most beautiful, most fantastic places in Birmingham, but I live in London. I'm not driving to Birmingham to go to a restaurant. So it doesn't matter how good you are, it matters that you're local. So if you're local, that must be one of your market advantages. So make use of it. Social media does not guarantee you're going to get local people. So you need to do things like leafleting and join platforms that have local promotions. And check this one out. If you have a compelling offer between Monday and Thursday, yes, you might have to discount slightly, but what do you want to do? Have a restaurant that's open, that's closed, or a restaurant that's open with all the overheads with nobody in it? Or do you want to meet some of your overheads? Because making something to contribute to your overheads is better than making nothing. You can make all your profit between Friday to Sunday and cover your overheads Monday to Thursday. So if between Monday and Thursday you've covered your overheads, then your profits are being made over the weekends. Yeah, bank holidays, weekends. That's where your profits are made. But if you're not making money between Monday and Thursday, it means you have to make all your overheads and all your profits over the weekend, which is very difficult to do. So you want to make money all year round, every day. So have a compelling offer between Monday and Thursday. Now check this one out. Before COVID, how many sports clubs, how many associations, and how many groups of people met regularly around your premises? Whether it's catering or whether it's a cafe, whether it's a restaurant, how many? Cricket club, football club, rugby club, tennis club, bowls club, chess club, knitting club, after school club, whatever the club is, how many of these groups are meeting around you? Guess what? How many of them have you approached with any marketing suggestion to get them to come to your place after they do their sport? I bet you none of you have done it, or hardly anybody has done it, right? To target that group of people who are immediately around you, who meet on the same Monday every week throughout the winter, every week throughout the summer, who could come to your business and regularly spend money with you. So these are real serious opportunities. You've got to make use of these opportunities. And the customers that come on other days, you don't necessarily want to promote that to them because they come on other days, but they might come back on those other days as well, knowing that it's a little bit dearer on the weekends. But you don't want to take the weekend customers away and put them on the Monday to Thursday necessarily, but they may come an extra day because of the bargain. They like the food, but they might come on a Monday because it's just that little bit of a cheaper opportunity for them, okay? You can have a different menu, it's fine. New desserts. Offer a range of desserts that are easy to store. Frozen desserts, you can get frozen cakes that are superb. Nobody knows they're frozen. Frozen cakes, frozen ice creams, you've got all the frozen yogurts, all the other things, soft drinks, all these things they store forever or for a long time. So you might as well have them in your option list, right? So you can make use of them. Right, let's go. Request data from all your customers. Try to get feedback from all your customers. The fact that they won't all give it doesn't matter. For every 100 that you ask, 60, 70, 80% of them will give you their data. Even 50% of your customers giving you their data is 50% more than you've got now. And that will build a fantastic database of repeat business opportunities So I'm suggesting you collect the data from all of them. I'll show you a trick. I can show you tricks of how to do that. We haven't got time to do it all now, but I can show you how to collect data from people who are in your store or in your shop or whoever. Caterers, as I said, you've already got their data. So they've got no reason not to have a database to go back to them. And they have anniversaries. Most catering is some sort of event that can be repeated. So therefore you can get repeat business. But if you don't ask them, they may not ask you again. Sometimes you have to put it in their mind. New marketing strategies that I've told you before, that you don't have to just rely on social media. Of course, use social media, but use other strategies too. And I said local leafleting and local promotion is should be a massive part of your armory. You need to at least let everybody locally to you know you're there. You know how many times people have been into people's stores? I have a client who has a bakery and people still come up to him, even though he's been there for 20 years or something. I never knew you were here. They look up at the sign and say, I never knew you were here. Well, they ask them, how long have you been here? I never knew you were here and I only live up the road, because they've never heard of you. So you need to promote yourself to everybody locally. It doesn't matter how many times, just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Don't think you do one leaflet drop and it didn't work, so you give up. Do multiple leaflet drops. But you must have a compelling offer. You must have them a reason for them to keep the leaflet. Reconsider deliveries and pickup only, as I said before. Consider pickup only. It's a real great option. And those of you who have dark kitchens, who are doing catering, who've never thought of deliveries, maybe you should think of it, or pickups. Because if you have a dark kitchen, you're probably in an industrial estate, which means if people come to you, they respect you because you're in a proper setup, but they'll come to you and they can park. So they love the fact they can come and pick up, because they never have to get a ticket when they come and pick up the food. So it's really an option that you could use. Train staff, ensure high quality. Train, and train your staff again. It's really important you do that. Ensure consistent service delivery by training your staff and have a system. Use scripts. Train these scripts into your staff until they nail it and they know the script off by heart. Get them to learn it, just like they do in McDonald's. If a 16-year-old can learn it in McDonald's, a 25, 30-year-old, 50-year-old can learn it in your business. Okay, and you learn them as well. Maximize your electronic point of sale system, your EPOS. Don't have an EPOS in your outlet and don't make use of it. Whatever data you're holding, make use of the data. Get some young person in, get a Kickstarter, get an apprentice, get some youngster in, your teenage sons or daughters or whoever. Get them to help you to build a database that you can make use of it on whatever network or whatever CRM system or whatever you can use. Make use of it. Teach staff, oh sorry, typo, how to serve well. Yeah, teach them and teach them again. Right, let me just, so that's my, I just wanted to go over those things. As I said, it's just a taster. Those of you watching it on replay, I hope you're getting some great value and get tips on it. And make sure you contact me to have that conversation to help me put this into your business so you can make thousands more per month profits to help you and your family. Right, let me move on to my menu, and I'm going to do a little bit about Raj's business and why I'm so powerful admirer of this. And it's time for action. That's what I've done now. So we have an electronic menu system, improve service delivery and customer experience. Because if you have the menu on your mobile phone, it's a fantastic service delivery opportunity that blows your competition out the water for what? £25 plus VAT a month. It's absolutely peanuts. It's a no-brainer. You've got to get my menu. You just get this system into your business. Even if you've got a catering business, you could show them electronically, go through it with them. Pictures and videos are powerful. People buy with their eyes. Food experience is so much more powerful if it's beautiful HD pictures and videos. Okay, enhance the customer experience. They will spend more. And guess what? If you position it in such a way to promote some of the food that may be a bit more expensive, but you can know the customer will pay that extra because of that beautiful picture or image of the beautiful experience or food. Protect staff and customers from infection, so that they don't have to touch menus and share menus. You can do it electronically, so they touch their device. They don't need to touch anything you give them by hand. So it's great COVID proof. Leverage your menu, including your desserts and soft drink menus. Have a section specifically for these. Sometimes I go into restaurants, they don't even have a soft drink menu. What, are you taking the pee out of me or what? So to order soft drink, the staff have to remember what soft drinks they sell. They don't even have a soft drink menu. They only have alcoholic menu. Come on now. In 2021, you don't have a soft drink menu. What are you telling me as a customer? That you don't value me. You take me for granted. Okay. And what about if you have children that come to your place? You're just hoping they'll buy a Coke. What else are you selling them? Make it special so they want to come back. Increase sales and average spend per head. I've told you about this, upselling, and think about sales per head. You should be constantly pushing your sales per head to make more money per head. Okay. Really, really important. You keep on pushing your sales per head. Show your customers how they can order and pay from their mobile. Absolutely fantastic. And if you've got a group of people, they can all pay individually. It solves all the argument at the end. It collects data on them and it can ask them for feedback. Fantastic tool to direct more marketing to them in the future. All right. It's an absolute no-brainer. I'm not going to go through the video. There's a video there. If you're watching it on replay, you can Google it and look it up, or copy this and watch it in your own time. Okay. I won't do it right now. So try yourself. This is just an example. Scan this one, because I'm guarantee you got your mobile phone on you. Here's the landing page. So copy that landing page, look at it yourself, and click on this Carluccio's just as an example for yourself, and play around with it and just have a quick look. Okay. So we'd love to hear from you, and it's time to get started. All right. So I'm offering a 30-minute meeting to go through the next steps to take your business to the next level. Or a one-off business planning session is fine, or one-to-one support. It's up to you what you do. I have a group of businesses that work with me. I have businesses that work with me one-to-one. I have people who do one-off business planning sessions to take their business and have a clear plan for the next year and next 90 days. Okay. Raj is available as well, just as well for consultation to talk you through how to do my menu. Okay. So you've got that as well. All right. So time to take action. Final poll. Who's going to take action? What's the 5 top things you're going to do right now to change your business? Number 1, contact me. That's the first action you should take, so I can help you implement this in your business. Second action, do the upselling. Third action, do something different with your marketing. Fourth action, look at all the data you have on current customers or your previous customers and have a system to have the new customers. These are just some basic things. Work out what your average sale value is per client or per table or per whatever you want to call it. And you decide on what you want to move that to. Times that by the amount of customers you want in the year, that will tell you the amount of money you can make. So if you want to make £500,000, work out what your average sale is. If your average sale is £50, then you know what you need, right? You need 10,000 customers or 10,000 people buying at £50. So work out what that needs. How many weddings, how many this, how many that, how many people coming in your shop. You work it out, go backwards and work it out, and then develop a business on the back of it. Okay. So that's it from me. I'm just going to stop share. I'm going to stop the recording, and